What's going on, everybody, man? Welcome back to a new video, new day, and I'm gonna have to get this thing kicking a little bit faster because it's some thunderstorms coming, and I kind of want to get out of here because I want to be able to take you guys on the drive, because today we're doing a review over the kind of like the short-term review of the Verticooler that I installed. Just some of the things that I've noticed since I installed it, because I'll be trying to monitor things like the intake air temperatures and how the car feels after I installed it. So let's go ahead and let's jump right on into it. Like I said, I do want to I do want to go out for a drive so we can take a look at the car. Take a look at the temps and all of that stuff, so I can kind of give you guys a rough estimate of what I'm seeing. The temperatures are not like they have been over the past couple weeks, because we've been in triple digits. We've been at like 102, 103, 105. It's been pretty hot, but it's been pretty surprising the intake temps I have been seeing during those times. So what I'm telling you now is going to reflect that. Today is not as hot, and that's probably because we got, a storm coming in, so it's kind of trying to cool off. So I don't want it to cool off too much, because I kind of think it's interesting seeing those temps. So maybe it's supposed to be like that for a few days. So if I can maybe get another drive session in to see those temps, if we're seeing those temps still, then I'll do that. If not, then hey, take my word for it. But from what we see today on the drive, hopefully it should be within the same margins. But let me tell you, initially I haven't gotten the car retuned, so I'm only gonna really feel the true effects of how good it is only after I get a tune. But right now, my first thoughts of how the car feels, it's kind of hard to explain to a degree, but it seems, only thing, if I had to sum it all up in one word, it would be stable. Let me tell you what that means. So with the Mitsubishi intercooler, the boost and everything, it came on good, and then it just felt, I don't want to say, dude. It felt like wide open, you know what I mean? Just like, okay, it's there. It felt good. With this, it feels a little bit more condensed, so you could tell a difference in how the car feels when you get on the throttle, and how the boost comes on. And like usually when the boost comes on, it would be like maybe, let's say 13 psi, and all of a sudden it'll go up a little bit, and it just dips a lot. Now whenever I hit the gas, it's like a stable feeling. It's like, and it stays at a certain boost point, and it stays there the whole time. And I don't know, it's kind of hard to describe that. I don't know if it's gonna show up on camera today either whenever we take this drive, but I don't know, we'll see. But the main thing I want to talk about, the main thing that's the focus on all of this, is my intake temps. So now, the one thing that I could probably attribute that the feel that I have whenever I mash the gas, it feels like it puts me in the seat a little bit more. Now, remind me, I'm not dealing with another tune. Probably if I get it tuned again, I can feel it. It'll be a lot better, but I feel like it's putting me in the seat more to a degree. Now, it's not nothing drastic like, you hear and then bam, you know what I'm saying? It's not nothing like that, but you can tell a difference in how the car feels. And I can only probably say that's because, like I showed y'all whenever I did the install, the charge pipe is actually bigger than the one that I had on. I had the cob one on there before, but this charge pipe going into the intercooler is is larger. So I'm getting that much more air coming through there, which is probably why I'm thinking just by the design of this thing, it gives you a more consistent boost level coming from the intake to the charge side, to the discharge side as it goes into the throttle body, which is the only thing I can kind of think of for that. But it does feel better, and you could definitely feel a difference in the pedal whenever you get it. Well, now, another thing that I could say as far as for when I say it's stable, because it's a lot of things that goes into the word stable, is, in my opinion for this, is, so I got my little notes here to make sure I don't miss out on anything. The temps. The temps stay that much more stable. Like before with the with the MoJo intake, the intercooler, it roughly it'll be around 10 degrees from outside temp, and sometimes it'll go to like maybe 12. Depending on what it is, what the temperature is outside. I mean, in the beginning of the ride, I'll probably be within 4. It will drop down to 4, but just for a short amount of time. But then it'll instantly go to like 8 to 10. So, and that's having been driving on it for a while. But with this one, so let me give you a scenario. So the scenario will be, let's say one day when I was riding, it was 102 degrees outside. That's what the little thermometer on the dash said that the temperature was outside was 102. So it being 102 degrees outside, my intake temps, as far as the access port was saying, was between 106 and 108. Now, in the beginning parts of that, it stayed within 4 degrees of 102. So from that 102, I was like I said, it was showing 106, and it would stay that way for a while, especially when I'm moving. And then as the intercooler got more and more heat soaked, it would be around 106 and maybe jump to 108. But once I get to rolling, like if I'm on the highway, it'll drop back down to 106. But it stayed stable within that range. It didn't really move much. It stayed there. Now, a definite difference between the MoJo and the Verticooler is with the MoJo, when I'm at a standstill, the temp would rise, but it wouldn't rise that fast. It would rise, but then once I get to moving, it would pretty much stay there for a while, and then it gradually would come down. But, you know, I'm guessing because of its location and the fact that it was right above the doggone motor, you know, and it didn't really have good air, because, you know, the air, when it comes in, it comes here, it has to change direction, go down. As it goes through the intercooler, it's hitting nothing but the block or the transmission housing. But with the Verticooler, the thing that's really weird with this one that I noticed is the fact that whenever I'm at a standstill, man, when I tell you the temps jump up, it jumps up to like maybe 130 degrees as far as intake temp. But as soon as I get to moving, it'll go from that 130, it'll drop down to 118, it drops down really fast, and it gets right back to around 108. This is still going off that 102 temp outside. It'll go to 108, and if I get to rolling for a while without any stops and I get on the highway, then it'll drop all the way down to 106, which is pretty freaking cool for that. You know what I mean? That's kind of tight that it does do that. So as far as temps, and hopefully we'll see something like that today, if I can hurry up and get up out of here before it starts raining. But now let's move on to the next. Another kind of weird thing that I said, let me try and see if there's a difference, because I've seen videos of them showing what the temperature is on the charge side to the discharge side as it goes to the throttle body, and it showed it like hot going in one side, like it was like 100 and something degrees, and it drops down to like 78 degrees going into the charge side, so or the discharge side. So I decided after a long ride in that sort of heat, I pulled the car over, and then I kind of put my hand on the charge side of the intercooler, and it was hot. And as I touched the discharge side of it, it was a lot cooler. So, and it was quite a bit cooler, and I was like, that kind of shocked me that it was that way. So I thought that was pretty interesting to see. But let me stop yapping and let's get in the car, do a little POV. Let's see if we can take a look at the temps before it starts storming. It's not as hot as it has been out here, but it is humid. So let's go ahead and let's check this thing. All right, fam. So we are in the car now. And what is going on with this thing? It ain't doing what I needed to do. Anyway, letting the car warm up, and as you can see, I kind of changed my my access part. I used to monitor coolant temps. Now I'm monitoring the oil temps. Just some other thing I'm looking into about, you know, my oil temps, and trying to see if I can get a hold of those or control those a little bit. So hopefully I got something else coming for that, but that's another video. But anyway, warming up, we almost there. So right now, I think right at around 135. Dang, on the oil temp, it's pretty much within the same range as being at 145, 150 degrees coolant temp, to where you're getting your oil pressure at about 50 and below. But that's 130, so 135, I'll probably just go ahead and take off. You can see right now that my intake temp is about 100 degrees, but it's like it's saying that it's 90 degrees out here. But like I said, we just sitting still. So now let's go on ahead and let's get it cracking. Go take a ride. So I was trying to put this on my head rig, but it's gonna be hard to see. But that's our temp outside, and that's where we're at on the access port. We're at 100. So I'm gonna try and do this without getting messy. So it's time. All right, we can go. So if you see right there, man. So it's at 97. Getting it moving a little bit here. Gotta take off the shift gears and shit stuff, y'all, so I'm sorry about that. Hold on. Got the windows wide open too, that ain't helping. All right, so there we go. So right now we're at 95 degrees from being at, the outside temp is at 90. So now we're slowing down a little bit, but yeah, it's right around 95. Now mind you, the car is still not all the way up to temp yet. It's close because the oil temp you see is like 182 degrees. So we good there. So now we see it's 91 degrees outside. Now as we riding around out here, the temp is really starting to set in. But now it's at 97. All right, so these are my attempts at trying to set this camera up the best way I can so that you guys can see. I kind of got it zoomed all the way in and kind of sitting off the side of the right side of my head so that I can kind of see what's in front of me, and we can kind of see the temps that it is. So right now, as y'all can see, we at 92 degrees from outside temp, and we're showing to be 108 as far as my intake temps. Fully warmed up, the oil temperature is 196 degrees, so we're good there. My oil pressure is sitting at around 16 and 17 PSI. So we are warmed up completely now. So it should be a considerable amount of freaking heat soak in the thing already. But right now, like I said, like we're going up to 109. Now, okay, so now we've got a green light. So like I said, we're 92 degrees. Now let's look at it. See now, we're moving and it already just, it drops fast. Excuse me, I'm sorry, God dog it. It drops fast like that. See, it's already at 104. Matter of fact, let's take a ride on the freeway. And let's see what it does, and we'll just, we'll do a U-turn. So now we're down to 102. I'm just hoping that y'all can see what I'm seeing here. So like it's 92, still 92 degrees outside. It ain't really jumped up from there. 102. Now we down to 100. And today has been feeling a lot better than any of the other days. So right now the temp just changed. See, we standard at like right at 100, right? So now we at 94 degrees outside temp. I was wondering why it was, but it's sitting at, like I said, it's 6 degrees from the outside temp. And that's with the car completely warmed up, heat soaked up, all of that. And then we got a cop in front of this camera all the way off. But that's what we looking like there. And that's what we looking like right there. And we're sitting at 100. Oil temps is at 207. You can see like we're completely warmed up. Car I've been having to sit for a little bit, like sitting stationary, so it can kind of build up its temperature. But that's what we're looking like. So now we're at about 97 degrees outside temp, and we're sitting at 124. We kind of had a stop light, so now we're moving. So let's see if I can capture how quickly this thing, or how it comes down, even though I'm in temp. I know I'm moving around, y'all. I'm sorry, I got to keep my eyes on the road. I'm trying to do this as safely as I can. As you can see, we are already down to 111 from 125, I think it was. So now. We not on the highway or nothing, just regular driving. We down to 108 now. Yeah, I know I'm bouncing around, but I'm like shifting and having the steering wheel with one hand. But look at where we at now. We down to 102. Now the temperature just dropped down to 95 or 94 now outside. As you can see right there. And then this is where we are. We at 104. Oh, we at 102 now. So hopefully this not making any of y'all dizzy or anything like this. This thing bouncing around like this. But all right, y'all. So that's kind of what we got right there. I went on a quick little errand and kind of get the temps up in the engine bay and get the intercooler to heat soak a little bit, so you can kind of see how fast it comes from a high temp and it drops all the way down as soon as you start moving. Now with the Mitsubishi, it didn't drop in temperature as fast as that one did, but like I say, it's all in the design of it. Not saying anything bad about the freaking the MoJo one, because it did what it needed to do for me and it worked good for me. But this one seems to be more efficient. One, the core is thicker. It's not as wide as the Mitsubishi one is, but it's a thicker. It's thicker in. Let me see. Yeah, it's thicker in width as the other one is, so it's able to work more efficient and it cools down faster and it stays at a stable temp and stable boost level at the same time, if that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but like I said, how the car feels, that's not nothing I can really transfer over to, you know, the video like that, but it does. I am enjoying the fact of how it works. It works a whole lot better. I did notice a big difference from changing from the Mitsumoto one. Did I say Mitsubishi before? I think I said Mitsubishi before, like a goofball. Anyway, the Mitsumoto, the Mitsumoto one is it's a good intercooler. You can't go wrong. Anything is better than stock. But this is the one I've been wanting, and I shouldn't have wasted. I should have just waited a little longer, save a little money, and get the one that I wanted. Besides, this was suggested to me by the tuner, so it's the next best thing towards having a front mount intercooler without having a front mount intercooler. So I like it. So other than that, man, I have no complaints about it. If anything comes up, you know, I'm gonna let y'all know. I'm very transparent with anything I run into, any little hiccups. I'm gonna let you guys know, because I feel like it's a good idea for y'all to know what you're getting into before you actually spend the money to do it. And then I like the intercooler. It looks really good in the engine bay. Oh my goodness. Works good. Now the next thing that really for me to see any sort of a true benefit from where I was before is to get it tuned and then see how it works at that point. But thank y'all if y'all made it this far into the video. Hopefully it's not too long. It probably is, but you know, I'll be trying to get every little detail in I can. Remember to like, subscribe, because like I said, it don't cost you nothing. You can always change your mind too. Just don't do that. But anyway, like, subscribe, hit that bell notification, hit all so you get notified whenever I put out a video, and y'all know what I'm about to say whenever. Until that next video. Peace.